Hello, and thank you for joining us for a discussion on childhood obesity, a national epidemic. This is the first episode in a 4-part series that is being sponsored by the Pottstown Area Health and Wellness Foundation. Joining me today is Dr. Lori Betts, and she's the program officer for the Pottstown Area Health and Wellness Foundation. How are you doing, Lori?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. Lori, recently a White House task force compiled a report to the president about solving the problem of childhood obesity within a generation. How did childhood obesity become such a national epidemic?
Well, it really is a national epidemic, Marcia. The thing is, I don't think it just came up suddenly. I think what it has done is really crept up on us. A third of children aged 2 to 19 are overweight or obese, and as a nation, we're spending $150 billion a year on problems related to just overweight and obesity themselves. This epidemic that's crept up on us, I think, has been caused by a couple of things under the big categories of our changes in our lifestyles and changes in our eating. Even compared to the way our grandparents lived just a generation or two ago, we're eating very differently. We don't have as fresh food anymore. We have lots of processed foods that are filled with fats and sugars and other products to make them taste better, to increase their shelf life, and they are filled with non-nutritious calories. Soda is a prime example of a completely non-nutritious food that people are just guzzling by the gallon. In fact, soda is being drunk in enough quantities to cause, by itself, a couple of pounds of weight gain a year. Wow. So that's really a problem. I mean, you also have a widespread use of fast food, which is extremely convenient, tastes delicious, is low cost, and is a lot better for people who are busy, so it's a lot easier, and people aren't taking the time. In addition to that, we also have their crisis of being sedentary. We can go anywhere we want anymore without walking or needing to really move. And we actually have a generation of children who are on average watching 7 hours a day of TV or using computers or games or other electronics. So now that's 7 hours a day that kids should be out, and our grandparents were out and playing. And, kids need 30 to 60 minutes of exercise every day. And they're just simply not moving around anymore. So our lives have changed. It is definitely an epidemic, but I think the changes in our lifestyle regarding diet and activity have really kind of come together to create this perfect storm that has really sent us reeling over the last 30 years. The White House task force that you mentioned has set up priorities in order to target what we can do to reverse this problem. And they also have to do with nutrition and activity. First, they want to increase access to affordable, healthy foods. In urban areas, a lot of times there aren't grocery stores nearby, and there's a fast food restaurant on every corner that's inexpensive. So that's a problem. Another problem is that the school lunches and school meals haven't historically been very nutritious, as we all know, and kids spend so much time in school. So that's really an area to target as well. We also need to inform parents and caregivers about what good choices they can make, because a lot of people just simply don't know. And finally, we really, really need to get active again.
Absolutely. You said a lot there, specifically even just the health care these children might need. But overall, why should we really be concerned about this? It's easy to just say, oh, well, this is just the way it is. But why do we really need to be concerned? What are the long-term effects that it's going to have?
Well, I think the best way to put this is short and simple, because it's utterly frightening. For the first time in the history of all of mankind, we now have a generation of children who are at risk of not outliving their parents.
That's scary.
The natural order of things is that parents grow old and the children outlive them. And this difference in this generation that we're raising now is completely due to the overweight and obesity problem. The health problems of diabetes, heart disease, and high blood pressure that are directly caused by the overweight and obesity problem are what's going to really take care of this generation in a negative way and mean that we're not going to outlive our own kids. And that really is dramatic.
That's incredibly dramatic. Here in the Pottstown area and the surrounding area, is this area above the norm, below the norm? Is there cause for concern right here in the Pottstown area?
Well, unfortunately, this national problem is right here in our backyard as well. The Pottstown Area Health and Wellness Foundation did a health survey of our community called a needs assessment in both 2003 and 2008. And unfortunately, what we discovered is that Pottstown area residents have even more obesity and overweight than the nation's average. Pottstown residents are at 66% of residents are overweight and obese, compared to the nation at 61%. It's a slight difference, but it is, significant enough that we really do have to be concerned here at home. To add one bright note is that the number between the 5-year interval hasn't increased. So I'm hoping that all the work we're doing here at the foundation, plus all the work that the schools are doing in the community, combined with all the national efforts, we'll hope to at least have slowed down the process that was accelerating so very rapidly, and eventually we can reverse the trend.
All right, Lori, thank you very much. To watch the entire 4-part series on childhood obesity, please log on to www.missionhealthyliving.org. Thank you.